My name is Tyler. Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is going to be an incredible video. Now, we are talking about Micorvision and BNGO all in this video, going over the short interest in both stocks and whether or not I see them as a long-term buy or a trade, as well as go over the technical analysis and see what that is telling us. Now, I do want to point out with Micorvision, I was trading this as a penny stock. So I sold 401 shares at 37 cents per share back in March. So this is a real tearjerker, and I will also be going over if I regret selling Micorvision. But if you guys like this kind of content and you want me to go over more stocks like this, let me know by hitting the like button and comment down below which one of these is your favorite, as well as always, hit the subscribe button if you get anything useful out of the video, and the notification bell if you want to stay up to date with all of these videos as soon as I post them. First, we're going to look at Micorvision, and from everything that I can gather, there is no news that justifies this 36.76% rally today. Like, come on. I mean, we were at $13.90 in pre-market, still up about 5.5%. And then we ended the day at $17.93, and we even hit a high of almost $19 midday today around 1 p.m. So there is like relatively zero news at all. And even coming to this article, why Micorvision stock jumped today, he's basically saying that morning on seemingly no company related news, the share price jump is likely the result of Micorvision, which makes lidar sensors, laser beam technology, and micro displays being mentioned on Reddit's Wall Street Bets forum yesterday. So we're going to take a look real quick after I show you guys my old position that I had, which is kind of a tearjerker to some, but we're going to take a look at what the short interest is to see if that has any contribution to what happened today. And just looking at these numbers, it has to have some contribution to what happened today, because this is a huge rally that we've seen in Micorvision, and congratulations to anybody that was holding shares today or even bought in today. You made a killing. So taking a look at my old positions, I was buying this around 28 cents a share, 28 cents, 27 cents, 27 cents, and then I ended up selling all of my shares, 401 shares at 38 cents, almost 39 cents per share. So this was still about a 25 to 30% return on this investment, but this was $156. And guys, this today, if I wouldn't have sold these 401 shares, this $156 would be $7,218 today. So this is quite incredible, and could quite possibly be one of the best gainers I have ever seen in such a short amount of time if I had only held on to my position. So later in the video, we will go over if I actually regret selling this or if I think this is a good long-term investment, and I have a unique point of view on this, so you guys will want to stay tuned for that. Now, trying to figure out why Micorvision rallied 36%, because there is no news related to the company. I am going to go to the short volume, and I am using Fintel, so they relay this data every single day, and it is the short volume ratio, and it is at 20% from the day, which is still highly elevated. But if we do scroll down to the middle of the page, and I will have this linked in the description if you guys want to check this out, we can see the average short volume ratio within the last 10-11 days has been in the $30 range or upper 20. So that's basically, like I said, the percentage of shares out of the total market volume per day that are sold short. So that is extremely high. One of the higher ones actually on the market right now. To be in the 30% range is kind of ridiculous, and that would make sense why we only have 20% short volume ratio today. A lot of shorts probably covered their position, but this is a very slippery slope. The further Micorvision or whatever stock, for an example, goes up in price after 36%, you're better off as an institutional investor to short Micorvision at this level that is currently at after a 36% rally in one day. You're better off shorting it now than you were before today. So this can exacerbate a current short squeeze, and that is really what happened with GameStop. Or an AMC for that matter. More shorts are willing to short it when the stock goes up, and if there's still the same buying volume that is pushing the stock up higher. Those shorts would then have to cover their position and buy back in, causing the stock to go higher, more shorts short, and then if it keeps going higher, they have to buy back in their position. So you guys kind of understand what I'm saying. Hopefully you guys do, but needless to say, Micorvision could continue to fly if we are going through a short squeeze. Now, me personally, I do believe we are going through somewhat of a short squeeze, but I do think this is more or less a gamma squeeze, because if you guys know anything about this or heard of a call sweep, that is basically the stock will just rally up for no apparent reason. There is no news that justifies it or anything else along those lines. But when a lot of options are purchased, a lot of calls are purchased, somebody who is selling those contracts agree to buy 100 shares at whatever the strike is. So if you sold this, right, sold the call, the $18 call, you agree to buy 100 shares at $18. Well, if there is nobody that is selling that contract on the market maker will ensure that there is a buyer, so they will sell this contract to you and agree to buy 100 shares. Well, when the stock price keeps going up, the market maker has to keep buying these options, and that's basically what a gamma squeeze is. Some people even argue that GameStop and AMC were somewhat of gamma squeezes because of so many people just bought options instead of actually buying the shares, and also that is quite possible. But I do think a gamma squeeze is going on right now, and the best way to really figure this out, because there's no telltale metric to figure out if it's a gamma squeeze, a short squeeze, or a little bit of both, like I think it's going on right now. You can just come to the option chain. You could see the volume for the day. At the money, the $18 strike for May 21st, which is going to have a lot of volatility or a lot of volume on these May 21st options, is almost 9,500, 7,400, 32,000 in volume. And this is just for the day, guys. This is out of the money. These are $300 in premium just to buy one of these $20 calls. So people are betting that Micorvision goes a lot higher. So that'd be very interesting. And I do think it is continuing on the gamma squeeze. And if we even go down the whole option chain, they are all in the thousands of contracts. And that is pretty unusual. And when you do get stuff like this, you tend to get a gamma squeeze. And even the $25 strike price is 8,700 in volume for the day. So we see massive calls being purchased. Look, this one is almost 24,000 calls for the $35 strike for May 21st, guys. This is less than 1 month away, and these are $100 contracts. You are paying a lot of money for 24,000 of them. There is not enough people willing to put up 100 shares per options contract. So this is the market maker like I said, basically buying the shares to hedge their position. So I do think this is a bit of a gamma squeeze. I would say it's more a gamma squeeze than a short squeeze, but that leads me to believe the price is going higher given a lot of shorts are in their position. And just like we get margin calls as retail investors or the small guys, the big money gets margin calls when their stocks go up too much that they have shorted and they have to cover their positions. That's what ultimately leads to a major short squeeze. Taking a look at the technical analysis, you can see that we are basically at a major reflection point where we hit 1, 2, 3, 4, and even 5 tops right here, and then really we start to sell off. So this will be a big inflection point if we can stay above this level, even consolidate out right here and push up higher. We have only ever done this one other time and been able to sustain it for a couple of days, and that was back in mid-February. So our reflection level is about $19 per share. This is where we tend to fall back from. And like I said, we have seen quite a few tops, 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5 right here. I didn't pull that out far enough, but you get the point. Basically, $19 is our major resistance level, and that is literally where we bounced off of, or fell off of today, I should say. But if we do come come out and draw like a worst case scenario support level, it's going to be around the $13.36 mark, basically where we started the day for today. So I think that's the worst case scenario. I think $19 is a major resistance level. And if I do basically put it on red or black, what I think will happen, I do think we will consolidate out a little bit right here, and then we will push up higher. The Gamma Squeeze kind of makes it interesting though, because we are a couple of weeks away from May 21st. So these market makers don't necessarily have to start buying all of these shares right now, but I do think they are, and I think that is what is causing us to go higher. Just know that we are at a major reflection point. So if you are putting money on this saying it is going higher, I mean, I do think it is going higher as well, but nevertheless, we could fall down just as easily as we could rip up. So that is something to keep in mind. Now, with Micorvision, I do not regret selling these shares. Obviously, hindsight's 2020, and if I could have turned 38 cents into $18 a piece, obviously anybody would have wanted to do that. But when I look back, even though I do think they will be a successful business long term, a lot of these automakers that need this technology, LiDAR and some whatever technology they do, pretty much LiDAR, a lot of manufacturers are going to make their own technology. So it's really a question of how many people are going to actually mass order Micorvision LiDAR sensors instead of just make their own, because efficiency wise it's cheaper to make your own, and that's what these car companies are about nowadays, is being the most efficient, saving the most money, coming up with their own products and doing it like that instead of third party wholesaling stuff from other companies. I just don't think it's a sustainable long-term future that Micorvision has, even though granted, I do think they will still be around. I think they'll be a decent company. It's just not my kind of investment. So like I said, hindsight's 2020, but I do not regret selling my Micorvision. For Biogenomics, I did make a trade on this, and they were up about 4.5% if you consider after hours. I just think they have higher room to run, considering they were at a high of about $15 a share mid-February, and then they have just hit their low at $5.27 April 19th. So we're pretty much at the low. That is why I decided to make a trade on BNGO. Like I said, they were up a little bit for today, and there's a couple other factors that we will look into next, but I did buy a BNGO $7 call for May 21st, and I thought the premium was attractive considering how much we can move in BNGO. I paid $58 for it. I'm not really too concerned about it. And that is one thing I want to point out as well. You don't need to play these with hundreds or thousands of dollars. If this one contract turns into 1,000%, if BNGO goes to $13, $14, $15 a share, wherever its high is, this contract at minimum will turn into, $58 I bought it will turn into $580, $600, $700, $800, $900, or even $1,000 or $2,000. If you play it correctly, you hold on to your position. $58, it's not going to make or break your account. Mine's around $20,000. So if I lose $58, my account's not going to feel it, but I still had an opportunity to play it. And if you do play these kind of situations right, you can make a lot of money. So long story short, I do believe BNGO, or Biogenomics, is a silent sleeper here. Now, like I said, we were kind of down when the market first started, down 0.76%, and immediately bounced up to a high of 5.36% up for the day and closed about 4% up. And this has a lot to do with the short interest is way higher. I shouldn't say way higher, but today was way higher than Micorvision, and their short volume ratio for the day was 27%, and this is significantly higher from where we have been. You could see the April 23rd, like I said, today or yesterday, if you're watching this in the morning, or on Saturday, was 26.88%. The day before that was 23.77%, and every other day was 18, 17, 11, 14, 13, 13. So you get the idea. The short interest is not as high in this one, but I do think there is a bit of a gamma squeeze that is going to happen here as well, because we have a lot of options volume on the option chain, but not as much as Micorvision. So this one, it will be a silent sleeper. I think it'll take longer to actually make a move. One, just because the option chain, like I said, does not have as much volume. The at the money $7 call expiring May 21st has for today had 3,300 in volume, which is still significant. Like I'm not downplaying that at all. That is still significant. And the $8 call had 3,100. The $9 had 1,100, and basically the volume starts to taper off after that. But I do think BNGO is going to get a higher options volume, and that will cause us to go higher. Now, depending if shorts keep on shorting the stock, which I mean, today 27%, 26% is really high. So if this continues for a couple more days, a week or so, we could really see a significant buying power coming into BNGO, and that is what I expect, and that is why I made this trade today. So also, if you guys want to follow this trade, you don't necessarily have to trade it. Just subscribe, hit the notification bell. I will be updating this when anything happens. I do expect BNGO to go absolutely crazy though. Now, I do want to actually come over to the technical analysis and give you guys some of that, because it does look, I mean, good and bad, to be honest. So we were in a very bearish pattern up until we hit our bottom at $5.12. You could see it hitting lower lows all the way down, but ever since April 19th, we have been hitting higher highs pretty much consistently. If you, boom, higher high, boom, higher high, and then kind of at a higher high right now. We're kind of break even with our higher high. But anyways, I do expect somewhat of a gap up. The resistance level is looking like it's almost at about $8 a share. So we don't really have any major resistance levels coming anytime soon. Like I said, until about the $8 per share. I don't see any of these stair-step type movements right here as being actual resistance, just because it's been such a gradual sell-off that a lot of people, if they're buying into their position, I mean, they've kind of had their positions wiped out. If you bought in over $8 or $10, you're kind of wiped out already. So a lot of people are going to be more willing to buy this up until about the $8 mark, which is the resistance level, just where a lot of people don't like to continuously buy shares of a company once they're at the reflection point, or inflection point, I should say. Now, I do expect us to get to about the $8 mark, which is our resistance level, fairly easy, to be honest. I don't think it'll be too hard for BNGO to get to about $8, just because their high was 15, so that is still down about 50%, almost 50% from their highs. So I do think we'll see somewhat of a gap up movement in the stock. I think we will see a very, very green day sometime next week. It's hard to tell with these exact things, but even on the RSI, we are pretty much in the middle, and that is the relative strength index. So we're kind of in the middle. It's not really signaling anything too crazy. We're not oversold, we're not overbought, and basically I think we're going to our $8 resistance level pretty easily. That is all I have for this video. That is Micorvision and BNGO, as well as the technical analysis and the short interest on both of these stocks. Now, just to be clear, I think BNGO has more upside from here, but nevertheless, they are both good trades. Whether or not you are in one or the other, let me know down below in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys to see which one you guys prefer as a whole. And if you do like this kind of content, make sure to hit the like button for me so I do know. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to stay up to date with these videos as soon as I post them. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. I will see you later. Peace out.